Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Women Like Me Stories and Business. My name is Julie Fairhurst, and I'm your host. And today, oh my goodness, I've got a really smart lady today that's going to be able to answer a lot of questions for us. So we're going to dive in quickly, but let me tell you a little bit about her. So now I forgot to ask you, you pronounce it Dana?
I do. I know it's got a
Yay!
Y in there and it really
Yeah.
throws people off, but you nailed it.
Perfect. So, Dana April is a transformative guide who helps individuals, communities, and companies establish, repair, and deepen their mind body connection to access their full potential. So, we all certainly need that through coaching, corporate workshops, and soul nourishing retreats. She empowers others to show up in the world with greater authenticity, sorry about that, confidence and impact. And her work is rooted in the belief that when people are connected in their truth and values, they become unshakable. I love that. So thank you so much, Dana, and welcome to Women Like Me.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so delighted to be here with you and your listeners and your audience, and I'm just excited to dive in.
Okay, perfect. Now, do you want to tell us anything else about yourself?
Oh my goodness. Where do I even begin? What else can I tell you about myself? I will just say that I am so in love with the work that I get to do. And I feel so privileged to have gotten to this place in my life where the work that I'm doing is actually regenerative. Like it's taken me a long time to kind of find that. I was in the corporate world for about a decade and kind of doing a lot of personal development work on the side. And I just feel so fortunate that I've found a way to kind of merge my two passions. And now the work that I do truly like fulfills me in so many ways. And that just feels like
Uh,
such a gift.
that that is, and is that not what we all should be striving for?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I'm happy to hear that. Okay, so your journey into coaching and consulting is very inspiring. So, what was the pivotal moment that made you switch from that corporate world to doing what you're doing?
Yeah, great question. I was in the startup world, like I said, for about a decade and always like the first employee in working at really early stage startups, which there's inherent risk in that. Yeah. So I was working in the startup world, in the corporate world for about a decade. And I was always like the first employee at these startup companies, which is amazing because you're really on the ground floor and get to see and actually create the company from the ground up, but there's inherent risk in it too, right? These are early stage companies and so few of them make it.
Mm.
So at the end of last year, my whole team got laid off and as happens and it was the golden opportunity, right? Like I like to really think of things as is this a challenge or is this an opportunity?
Mhm.
And I really felt the opening to finally go after the thing that I have been so passionate about in my personal life, right? So yeah, I finally found this opening, right? And to me, it really did. It felt like an opening to pursue the thing I've been so passionate about in my personal life. Right? I've spent years and years, almost a decade, training in somatic movement, meditation, and doing a ton of coaching for myself.
Yeah.
And I just saw it was like literally the clouds parted, there was a ray of sunshine, and I was like, this is my shot. This is my chance. Like,
Mhm.
this is the opening that I've actually been waiting for, and I may not have taken on my own had the opportunity not presented itself in this very, backwards way, maybe you would think, but I saw it as
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, now I get to go choose this.
Yeah, I have been let go from a job, fired once, and I remember I cried all weekend. I was devastated, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I think that, and you're right. Had that not happened, I wouldn't probably be sitting here. I have a family member that went through a relationship breakup, losing a job after 24 years and their poor little doggie passed away. And I spoke to my family member who, of course, thought the world was ending. And all I could say was, congratulations. You weren't happy in any of, oh, not the dog, but your relationship and you hated your job. Like, congratulations, the world is just going to open up for you. And and that person said, yeah, you're right. And it's been a couple of years now, and much, much happier. And I think that's, you know, it's hard to see when we're going through that kind of thing that this might be happening for us.
Absolutely. I was actually talking to a client about this yesterday. It's really a mindset shift to be
Mhm.
able to see the world through the lens of
Yeah,
things are happening for me. I will
yeah,
say, I also let go of a relationship last year. So I had two major legs of the stool taken out from under me. And I
yeah,
could have gone into what is going on, right? Like, oh my gosh, my world is ending. But I really saw it through the lens of like, wow, everything that's not in alignment with me is shedding, right? And it's like I
mm,
kept getting lighter and lighter as these things were happening. And it's a choice. It really is a choice to see the world through the lens of this is an opportunity. This is happening for me. What can I learn from this? And it's a choice to look at it the other way. And I will tell you that, like, one of them, you're going to come out, you're going to move faster through things, right? You're going to
yeah,
start seeing the opportunities everywhere. And the other one is going to shut you down. It's going to take way longer to come out of that. And
yeah.
everything's going to seem like it's just piling on and piling on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it's and it's hard, right, for people to go through that, but you're absolutely right. It's the way we can look at those things. And yeah, I know it's very hard for people going through it though.
Absolutely. Not to discredit that at all.
No, not at
Completely.
all.
Yeah,
No.
and it's absolutely valuable to take the time to feel the feelings and process. Like, I'm not saying that definitely do that with all my clients. We take the time. It's necessary.
Yes.
You don't want to skip over because it'll come bite you in the ass later.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So how do you help individuals uncover and embrace their true selves?
Oh, great question. Because it's one of my favorite things to do. So, a lot of women in particular I work with, they'll come to me saying, I have these dreams, I have these goals, I have these visions, but I can't seem to be making progress on them, and I don't understand why.
Hmm.
And this is where I really see the somatic work that I do come into play. Soma is from the Greek word that means body. And so what I'm trained in is the mind body connection and how we can actually utilize the wisdom of the body to make decisions in our life, to take aligned action. And so what I see happen is that women will come to me and they'll be like, I just don't understand. Like, things are not happening in my life.
Yeah.
And I will take them through a process using a variety of tools. So sometimes it's movement, sometimes it's breath, sometimes it's meditation, sort of like body-based meditation. And we kind of start to uncover, well, my head is saying this. Like, I think I want this, or a lot of times things are coming from should. I should want this.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
So that can be a big hook. And so we start to unwind like what my mind thinks I want, right? The clients will say, this is what I want. And then I start taking them into the body and we find there's a whole other story going on in the body. And
Ah,
so it's kind of sometimes I describe it as like a traffic light where it's like you have a green light, right? You're like, yeah, this is what I want, green light. And then we go into the body and your heart is a red light and your gut is a yellow light, right? And we're like, oh, that's why I'm not making any progress because there's actually parts of me that are like, no, we don't want this. Maybe it's not safe. Maybe it's not actually aligned with who we are. And so that's the process that I really take women through is we find out what's really going on. And for me, I've only found that like I found the most effective way to do that is to go into the body and see what's there. And from that place, we start identifying, well, what would it take? And what do I really want to make three green lights? Like
yeah.
all things go. And then you start really seeing women making moves, right? Because once you sort of have that mind, body, spirit alignment, things flow. They really start
Yes.
and women feel so connected to who they are and their authentic wants and desires and needs. And then we start making action plans on like, great, how do we go make this happen,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, I love it. So how do you help to figure out what part of the body, like are you assisting them through meditation or what
Yeah.
exactly, how are you finding that out?
So I start many of my sessions with a practice called sensation tracking, and I'm happy to, guide you through it or guide your users through it. I also have like a little free audio that I'm happy to send to all your audience so that they
Oh,
can get
perfect.
some, yeah, practice in this.
Yeah.
So sensation tracking is a beautiful way to start making the mind body connection. And what it is it's really separating our emotions and our feelings and our thoughts from the physical sensations in the body. I like to give an example where people are like, I feel anxious. And I'm like, okay, that's an emotion, that's a feeling, that's a thought.
Yeah.
What does it actually feel like in your body?
Mm.
hmm And then oftentimes, they'll say, okay, I feel a tightness in my chest. And we still generally tend, like when you say I feel anxious, we generally have a negative connotation, right, with that, right?
Right. Yes,
Right.
of course.
Even when you say like, oh, I have a tightness in my chest, some people will still have a negative connotation with the word tight, right? But
Mm.
I like to say, if it was a windy day and I was holding on to my hat tightly, is that bad? Is that negative? Is that wrong? No. Sensations in the body are neutral. They're neutral. So
Ah,
tightness is actually just something our body does. It expands and contracts all the time. Right? It's
yes.
how our heart beats. It expands and contracts. You could say it gets tight and tight and loose. So this is one way of helping women to start to disassociate these negative connotations we attach to thoughts and feelings and just start to become present with the sensations in the body, and we start to neutralize and separate what's a sensation that I can just be with. And science has actually shown that our system only needs 90 seconds to process a feeling, to process a thought, and to process a sensation. So if we go on any more than 90 seconds, we are actively looping on that thought. But I found it
Right.
to be helpful, like women, especially with women, it's much easier to sit with like a tingling in my left hand than it is to sit with, the thought of I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling anxious.
Yes.
Start to kind of pull that apart. So that's one thing that I do with clients to help them start to be comfortable with their body. And once we have that opening, that's when we will go on a little, meditation journey and start tuning in with like, okay, is there anything that the heart has to say right now? Or the belly, like wherever they might have some extra sensation, we'll kind of stay there for a minute and just start to gently pull and see what's there.
Yeah. Because we really do hold our emotions in our body.
We do, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes we need to get them out of there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's like it's like creating a toolkit
Mm.
that we can actually use that makes us feel safe as we do that exploration. Because that's a huge part of why so many people and so many women are so disconnected and disembodied, is it
Yeah.
doesn't feel safe to be in our bodies. And we have
Yeah.
so much programming, right? That tells us we're too much, we're too this, we're too that. And
Yeah.
so why do we want to be in these homes that we have when, we're being told all this misinformation about how actually beautiful, sacred, and intelligent and wise they are, right?
Yes.
We're kind of trained out of trusting our gut and,
Yes.
and trusting our intuition, right? It's like,
Yes.
no, listen to everybody else. No, but you're not going to trust your own intuition if you don't have that connection and if you don't feel safe to do that. So that's another thing I really
Yes.
work with clients, is building the safety around
Yeah.
that relationship with the body.
I listen to a lot of YouTube stuff, and I don't remember who said it, but this was maybe last week. And what this person said, I don't even remember if it was a man or woman, but it's just coming back to me. And what they said was that the future in healing is going to be not in our brains, but using our gut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I'm, like I said in the beginning, I'm kind of obsessed with this work. You know, I just
Yes.
so love
Yes.
what it, because I think the body is the next frontier. Like we've done so much with the mindset, and it's huge, right?
Yes.
We talked about in the beginning that growth mindset and outlook on life. Hugely, hugely important. And the body to me is like the next frontier of
Yeah.
exploration. And I think
Yeah.
people are just starting to understand the power. If you think about it, like look how much our head occupies of our body.
Yes.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
10%, 20%, maybe.
Yeah.
At least 80% of our intelligence is in the body that so
Yeah.
many people don't have access to. So that's like the joy of what I feel like I get to do is help people reconnect to so much more of themselves,
Yes.
more energy, more aliveness. And then that's
Yeah.
what they bring through in the world, in their relationships, in their work, in their health and vitality. And so it really impacts every area of life.
Absolutely. And I think too that when you said energy, that really hits home with me because I think that we have a choice. We can get up and shuffle our feet and keep our shoulders down, or we can walk quickly, stand taller. And it's funny because I've actually been doing this lately because I noticed I'm getting a little bit older and I notice I'm slowing down a little bit. And I thought I'm a little bit slower than I used to. And then I thought, well, do I really have to move that? Like I really was giving it some thought. And so now I stand up taller, I walk quicker, I feel better. I feel more energy just doing that than I did kind of, the word puttering.
Yeah,
It's yeah, it's
beautiful.
yeah, I think that I
So
I think we as women get quite detached from ourselves.
we
Yeah.
we do, but I love that you had the awareness of that and you took the action. Like that's a huge thing I always work on with clients as well, is awareness is the first step. Like absolutely, you can't do anything if you don't have the awareness about it.
Yes.
But also, nothing happens, nothing changes if you don't take action. And so I
Yes.
love that you both had the awareness of like, hey, I'm not feeling so great. Like, and then you took the action and you followed through. And I will say that that combination of awareness and action, when you actually take the action and follow it through, it's how we build trust with ourselves, which is how we build safety with ourselves.
Yes.
And so you're doing that beautiful wave, and that is how you have more connection to your body because you're building that trust and you're building that safety. And it's just so beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your retreats. So what kind of retreats do you hold? What is it that you do?
Yeah. So right now, I'm not doing a retreat, I think, until likely the fall.
Okay.
But the thing I'm doing right now that I'm so excited about are these workshops. I do virtual and in-person workshops. And my favorite one right now is called the See and Be Seen Club. So I spell it SABS. SABS is like the acronym for
Yeah.
See and Be Seen. And this workshop is all about, right now they're in person. So I'm based in LA. So I have one coming up on this Thursday. I don't know when this episode will come out, but they're going to be monthly, if not more than monthly. And then I'm creating the virtual version of it too. So I'm
Perfect.
excited to be able to bring it out into the world. But this workshop is all about the transformative power that comes from when we really go a layer deeper with each other and we meet the need that we have as humans, right? We literally are born with an intrinsic need to be
Mhm.
seen and known and valued. And so much of the suffering on the planet right now, actually, when you think about like the loneliness epidemic that we have, rising rates of suicide, more people than ever experiencing depression and anxiety, so much of that suffering is caused by this intrinsic human need to feel seen and known and valued, not being
Mhm.
met, not being met. And so this
Mhm.
workshop is part educational, part experiential, and like totally transformational because it gives people the tools and the skills and the opportunity to practice this, what I call a superpower, which is
Yes.
it's a superpower to really see somebody for who they are at their core, for all their gifts and talents and magic, but also for their humanity and their complexity and their struggles. And when people are seen in that way, it is like the most nourishing nutrient, that we can
Mhm.
really receive as humans, and it can change our lives. Like it really can activate things inside of us that
Yeah.
give us the confidence and the clarity to do the things we might not do if we weren't seen in that way. And so it's like this like workshop is lighting me up right now.
So are you teaching women to see themselves?
Yes, it's kind of
Ah,
three parts. So
yeah.
it's one, how to see yourself. And
Yes.
I will say that so much of how we see ourselves is how others see us. And so,
Ah.
yeah, so the second part is learning how to see each other accurately. And then the third part is how to receive. And this one can be a hard one for people
Mhm.
is how to
Mhm.
actually be vulnerable and open up and like let yourself be seen.
Mhm.
Right? So you're learning all three sides of that. How to see yourself, how to see another, and how to let yourself be seen.
Ah,
Yeah.
beautiful. And what a transformation for women that have trouble because I think, you know, we tend to get shut down in society sometimes
Absolutely.
and in all different ways and
Yeah.
different areas. And so then we do lose sight of who we are.
Yeah.
And sometimes with compliments even, people can't sometimes take them because they feel they don't deserve them or that kind of thing. So I think like how beautiful it is. And when I think and when what I love about women is that and men are fabulous, of
Yes.
course they are, but of course you men are, but I'm a woman, so I work with women. But what
Yeah.
I love about us is that when we see the light,
Hmm.
when we wake up, when we get like an aha moment, we don't just keep it to ourselves. That's the wonderful thing, right? So we're not only learning and healing and growing, but then we share it with our girlfriends, and we may not even, and with our families, we may not verbally share it, but we're going to show it in our actions.
That's
And the
right.
way, I just think it's wonderful because as we heal and get better with whatever our issues are that we have, then we can pass on that health to our kids. They see it, our spouses see it, our friends see it, our community workers see it, and sometimes people want what you got.
Totally. I mean, two things come to mind as you're talking. The first thing is um, the nature of women is collaborative.
Yes.
It's collaborative. And we have been in this patriarchal society that is all about competition because that is men's nature. And it worked for a time, right?
Yes.
The
Yes.
competition worked, like when we needed it on the planes and all of that. But so many women have been trained into competition in order to think that's what they need to survive. But the
Mhm.
true nature of women is collaboration and
Mhm.
cooperation. And so when I hear you talking about, yeah, we don't keep it to ourselves because we understand that when we
Yeah.
get a piece of wisdom, all women rise if they know this wisdom. So we want to share it. We want the collaborative nature of women to rise. And so I
Yes.
love that you shared that because that's true. That's our essence. That's who we are.
Yeah.
And oh, go ahead.
And no, I was just going to say, and I appreciate you explaining it
Mm.
eloquently because so that they can understand it while whoever's listening can understand. And yeah, and hopefully help to get collaborative
Yeah,
with some
collaborative.
females out there.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And the other thing that you said that I love so much is, I use this expression with my clients that you have to be 100% responsible for 50% of any relationship. right? I'll say that again, right?
Woohoo.
You have to be 100% responsible for your 50% of any relationship dynamic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so what
Yes.
I heard you saying too is that when you take responsibility for your own learning and wisdom and knowledge and shift your own energy, it will change every single relationship dynamic that you're in, right? People
Yes.
will notice it if you are doing your part. And it's not about fixing, changing anybody
No.
else, but they will feel the impact if you're doing the
Yes.
work on your side.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've got a girlfriend who's just she's had a few marriages, and but she finally woke up and said, "I'm the common denominator here."
That's beautiful ownership.
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful ownership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so therefore, sure, these people had their issues, but why am I going to the same person with the same issues and then having the same thing happening? I'm the common denominator. I need to get this fixed. And I thought, yay! Yay!
Love that. Hey, listen,
Yes.
sometimes we need to do a few rounds before we get the information, you know?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. But
Yeah.
I think I love what you said that you have to take that 50% responsibility. You're not in a
100%
relationship by
responsibility.
yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
100% responsibility for your
For
50%.
your 50%. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
meant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally. I
absolutely.
got
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Wow. Well, can you give us a little bit of advice? How can individuals stay connected
Mm.
in this fast-paced world that we're living in?
Oh, this is a great question. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, all right. This is on my mind from this morning, so I'm just going to share this because it's fresh.
Yeah.
So, one of the exercises that we do at the SABS Club, which is ultimately all about connection, it's a game called I Wonder, and it's actually my friend Kevin. He did it at a workshop, and I said to him after, I said, "That's an amazing exercise. Can I use it in mine?" And we've been collaborating, and it's been wonderful. So this game is called I Wonder, and it's a question game where you get to wonder anything you want about the person next, like across from you, right?
Oh,
And the fun part is if you were to play this game, like with someone, it could be virtually, it could be on the phone, it could be in person. So, what you'll do is you'll spend about a minute, and you can ask them any question that you want. And the catch is they're not going to respond. They don't have to answer any of them. So, you
oh,
really ask anything. And then it switches, and they get to ask any question that they want. And it's so fun to see what kind of curiosities arise. And at the very end, what we like to do is you get the opportunity to then answer any of the questions that you want,
yeah,
but you learn so much more about people and can feel so much more connected to them by removing the surface layer question of just like, hey, how are you? Right. And then you're
right.
not really listening for a response.
Yes,
Right. It's a
yeah,
way to build connection that comes from curiosity, which is one of the main pillars of connection is being genuinely curious about somebody else.
yes.
It's just a fun way. And what I have found is, this morning, like I was playing this game with a friend, and as I was making my bed, I was like, I wonder if they make their bed every day. And I was making my coffee, I wonder how they take their coffee. So you start building this
Ah,
connection with people, even if you're not in direct relationship with them in the moment.
yes.
It starts building this like really sweet connection that you're thinking of them more often and they are thinking of you. And then the next time you talk, it's like you want to get into the deeper questions. So it builds this connection that's just I've been finding so fun.
Oh, it sounds like fun. It sounds like a lot of fun. Wow. Well, I just love having this conversation with you. And I think that, what you're doing is so needed. It's just so needed out there. And yeah, we need to get connected not only with other people, but with ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
for
that's number one. Yeah. Connection with
yeah.
self. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. So, for anybody who's watching or listening, we are going to have all of Dana's information is going to be in the details section. So there'll be links there to reach out to her, and she'll have a bit of a bio there for you to learn a little bit more. So all of that will be there. So before we go, I have 5 questions that I love to ask my guests. I got to reach over here
Okay.
and get them. And I'm wondering, do you mind if I ask? This is my game.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just gonna say, you do the question game. Let's go.
Okay, okay. So, if you could travel anywhere in the world tomorrow, where would you go and why are you going to go there?
Okay, great. So Croatia has been on my mind for some
Oh,
reason. I love waterfalls. I love them, and that place is just filled with epic, epic, beautiful waterfalls. And so I think
oh,
that's where I would go, just to, uh,
oh,
that water, be in that nature.
oh, that
Yeah.
would be beautiful. Love it. Do you have a favorite book that inspires you?
Oh my goodness. I could probably name a few, but one that I love is a book by a woman named Priya Parker, and it's
Okay.
called The Art of Gathering. And
Oh,
oh my goodness, she is fantastic. And she really talks about how much better our in-person virtual, I mean, it could be any kind of gathering, but the difference it makes when you create a gathering with a deep, meaningful purpose and
ah,
walk you through how to create step by step a gathering that really resonates for people, really makes people feel like they're there for a reason. And it's a fantastic book that I use a lot in, when I'm creating workshops or retreats and things like that. I pull from that book a lot.
oh, wow. I learned so much from doing podcasts. I'm so lucky. I'm just so lucky. Okay. So if you could have dinner with any woman in the world, who would it be and why? Or in history, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's a great question. So I'm gonna say, my mother's mother died when my mom was 4. And so
Ah,
I never got to meet her, and my mom didn't really get to know her. And so I think it's Mother's Day is like around the corner.
yeah,
So I've been feeling into that, feeling into the fact that I never got to know who she was and sort of know how she would have shaped my mother's life and how that
mm,
would have shaped my life. And so I think, yeah, getting to sit down and just like know who she was and just know that she's part of my lineage would be a beautiful person to spend.
oh, that would be so beautiful, wouldn't it? Wow, that would be great. Okay, if you could whisper one truth into the ear of every woman who's listening right now and they're struggling, what would you say?
Okay, and they're struggling. That might change my answer because there's something that's been coming up recently. Maybe I'll say two. Would that be
Okay,
okay?
yeah,
All
absolutely.
right. For
Yes.
anybody listening, and I do believe this, whether you're struggling or not, but I really do believe women know. You know. And it's like, it's back to that thing where we get so trained out
Yeah,
on knowing. And then sometimes we get scared to really go to that place of knowing because we don't like that it means that we're probably going to have to change something in our life. But if we
right.
don't listen to that knowing, we will be off track. Everything we're doing that's not coming from being in integrity with that knowing will not create a satisfying life. So it's like whether what feels amazing or if it feels like, oh, that's so scary. I don't want to admit that I know that. There is a power in admitting what you know. So maybe I'll
Mhm.
leave it at that, but
Well, that's speaking your truth.
that is speaking
Yeah.
your truth.
Yeah, wow, that was beautiful. I appreciate that. I appreciate the whole conversation, Dana. Thank you so
Likewise.
much. So,
Likewise.
everyone, remember if you want to reach out to Dana, her information is going to be in the detailed section of the video and of the podcast. And don't be shy because I'm sure she'd love to speak with you. And if you're in the LA area, maybe you're going to get to drop into one of her in-person workshops.
Yes.
So that sounds exciting too. Well, thanks again. I appreciate you being here, and let's do this another time as well.
I would love to, Julie. This was fabulous. Thank you so
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, bye-bye, everybody.
much. Bye.